What is up, guys? Welcome to the Game Week 19 deadline stream. How is it going? I will be bench boosting this week. I've had it activated all the week, and I will not change that now. I personally still have one transfer to make. Let me know all of your dilemmas. Obviously, a lot of you guys may also be bench boosting or using some other chip. So let me know if you have any questions about what to do, and obviously I will answer them. So let's get started. As I mentioned yesterday, my most likely transfer is for me to bring in Reece James. And since I said that, let me start off by looking more into Reece James and his recent statistics as a player. So let's go to Chelsea. This is on understat.com, by the way. I will put that in chat soon, I suppose. Let's sort by Chelsea here. And as well as some other big teams. And I want to see over the course of the season, at least how good Reece James has been. I know I didn't give much of a build-up time for this live stream, so there's not many people here yet. But regardless, let's go into Mr. What's his name? Reece James. So expected assists per 90 minutes over the course of the season. I wouldn't expect it to be too high. I feel like some people may be overrating his attacking threat, but it's not bad, So based on this, I would expect a return, an attacking return, like 1 every 5 games from Reece James. And that's not amazing, to be honest. You could get that from elsewhere. But he also plays for Chelsea defensively, so if I am going to bring him in for Tierney, which kind of sucks. I mean, this decision is, considering Tierney has a good fixture this week, this decision could really tear me apart. That's funny, right? But no, I think this is the safer way to go, just simply because I get the extra fixture out of it. I also go in Sudanshu and John and Harveen. Do you think Aston Villa more time to rest can cause City a problem? I don't think so. I think we could look at that either way. Either it helps them or hurts them. We could say it hurts them because they haven't been able to train properly. They weren't expecting to be in the situation. They may be missing some players due to COVID. We don't really know who they're missing. So the one player we know they're missing, as far as from what I've heard, is Trezeguet. And he's not a key player. But who knows? Maybe they're only missing a couple. Maybe they're missing 10. I wouldn't expect it to be that many by the time of the game. I think just based on social media posts, people were able to deduce that what's his name, Trezeguet, is not playing or had COVID at some point. So Fulham and Leicester. Fulham have actually defended very well recently. The numbers suggest that Fulham have been one of the at least top 10 teams defensively in the top half over the past month or so, which looks pretty good for them, and they haven't had the easiest fixtures. And then Leicester, well, that's not great, is it? But after that, the fixtures are good enough where I could play him most weeks. And then I just have to decide how good Chelsea are going to be and how much I want Reece James in my team. Do Arsenal have any games in hand longer term? No, they don't. Okay, so I don't feel as bad as getting rid of Tierney. What's up, Adam? How's it going? Do you think Bamford will score this week? Ooh, that's a tough question. Straight up asking me if he's going to score this week. I think he's got a great chance to. I really do. I still want Bamford in my team at some point, as I've mentioned multiple times. Just going back to defenses. So over the course of the season, Brighton, who leads play this week, have been bottom 10 defensively, but over the past month or so, Brighton have defended a little bit worse than that. They've been bottom. They're fifth from bottom, or sixth from bottom anyway. Fifth, I can't count. So it's not really great for Brighton. I personally think it's a game that fits Leeds as well. I think sometimes both teams kind of play similarly, where they try to press and take over the game. Brighton actually had a couple stretches in the game where they were able to make the press work on Man City. I think it was at the beginning of the first half, I want to say, where Man City had a couple of times in a row where they lost the ball in their own half of the pitch, and it caused them some trouble. And that's the kind of thing that both teams can do to the other team. But, if a high line is ever implemented, I think Bamford's got a decent chance. He's not really got blistering pace or anything, but he's also on penalties now, most likely. He took the last one. So, if you have Bamford, I know it's a double game week, but he's somebody I would look to play every week. I would probably play him over the likes of a Burnley defender. Him versus Chris Wood. I mean, it's a tough one. Two fixtures versus one is not a decision we have to do a lot. So it's hard for us to judge, but I wouldn't really blame you either way. So I don't know. But yeah, I think it's a good matchup. Get Martial out this week. I don't know if I can do that yet. I'm gonna see if we can find any news. What's the first game this week? Because that's the one we're probably most likely to get news on. Unfortunately, it's a game I don't care about. It's Wolves versus West Brom. Literally don't care. As far as Martial goes, I'm just going to search for his injury, see if I can pull anything up, because maybe there's a reason for that. Thanks, John. Yeah, okay, the reason I couldn't get rid of Sudhanshu, I know that Martial's got his issues. But he's still got a double, and after the injury, first of all, I tweeted out that I wasn't too worried about it, and then people are like, the Martial injury is not as bad as initially feared. Martial said he's not, Gunnar Solskjaer said he's not ruled out, so, it's not ideal, of course. I think the one thing that's saving me is the fact that there's not really amazing options that I'm missing out on. Like if I don't do the transfer out of Martial, so don't know. Maybe I'll just look like a fool. I can't really trust him anyway, and now that he's hurt, it is somebody that I would love to be able to get rid of easily. But who would I bring in that makes sense? Bamford, of course, longer term. Bamford's there. But if I just keep Martial this 1 week, just don't do anything to him, no transfers needed. He plays Sheffield United next week, but also Fulham in the second game. So if he's just available by then, I get Fulham and Sheffield United. So I don't know if I can complain too much. I think it makes the most sense to keep him. Man, I can't really afford a 0-pointer though, because I'm playing bench boost. So that would suck. Yeah, I can do that, Tejas. Yeah, I'm probably going to do the same thing, Harveen. Hey, FPL, how's it going? Yeah, it's hard to, with somebody who's got a double this week, a lot of times I'm not really going to sell somebody ahead of a double game week, especially when I'm bench boosting. It doesn't make sense when I have single game week players. In general, 2 games is just pretty valuable in my opinion. So we got 45 minutes until deadline pretty much, and nothing new yet. I'm going to wait a little bit just to confirm the Reece James transfer. But yeah, let me pull up your team, Tejas, on my tweets. And I'll give my thoughts on that. So you ask Alioski to Stones for a -8 and bench boost. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So yeah, I do like the idea of a Man City defender in. I think Alioski out makes sense. He's not necessarily nailed on every week, longer term. So I think you get some benefit from there as well. But the main thing is that Stones and Diaz are just such good options. You can watch the Man City game and tell that the way they defend is just incredible recently. But it also does show up in terms of expected goals against Man City over the past month or so. This isn't even close. The next closest is double their amount of expected goals conceded. I would be interested to know how many shots they've conceded in that time. It's probably about the same amount, where it's just so much lower than any other team. But yeah, based on the situations that shooters have got in, they would only be expected to give up 2.46 goals over the past 6 games. So we're looking at, in terms of what on average professional players score, we're looking at they sort of deserved 3 out of 6 clean sheets, maybe 4 out of 6. So very good stuff from them. I mean, I think you just, especially Cancelo, I know you can't quite do it, but I like that move. I know that you may already take a hit, but I think that's good. Alioski to Stone sounds good. Other than that, the team is really fine. Adams here is potentially an issue, but he's still good enough to bench boost with, and like I said, there's not many great options to really replace him with. So yeah, overall the team looks good for this week. This midfield should do well this week, and I think it is definitely a team that you bench boost with, maybe after Alioski out or Kyle Walker-Peters out. Yeah, it looks good. Kyle Walker-Peters out maybe, but I think I would lean towards Alioski out as well. Southampton have defended reasonably well. Meanwhile, Leeds are like right up there for the worst in terms of expected goals against over the past month. And again, that's on understat.com. I'll put it now in there. So yeah, I think that sounds good, Tejas. Understat.com. That is the sites that I use. Just put it in chat. All right, so that's that. And it's sort of weird because I still sort of look at Leeds as a interesting matchup, but in reality, like, they've defended much worse than teams like Sheffield United even over the past little bit here, the past 6 and 7 games. Leeds have not defended well, so I quite like the matchup in general. So between Bruno or Salah, the clear thing that sticks out is simply the fact that Bruno is on 4 yellow cards. So if he gets a yellow card in the Liverpool game, he will be suspended for their Fulham game. And that's a big deal because Bruno is the kind of player that gets yellow cards, and it may even be the case. I mean, we've seen this before with teams. I don't want to say this will happen, but it wouldn't blow my mind to see an intentional yellow card at the end of the game. If the result's already decided or whatever, from Bruno. That way, he goes ahead and gets it out of the way now and is suspended for the Fulham game. Now, I don't know how long it goes on. Like, maybe we're reaching the deadline now where if he just passes another game, he doesn't have to get suspended. I don't know the situation on that. So if somebody does, they can inform me more. But also, we've seen in the past, like, Bruno could have potentially got a red card before the season just because of double yellows. I felt as if he was I captained him the week I was watching, so keep that in mind. Maybe I was just nervous, but he definitely made multiple fouls after he was on a yellow card one week, and I was like, what are you doing right now? Because he was really pushing it to the limit, and he's not immune to getting a yellow card here and getting suspended. So for me, that makes it simple, and Salah would be the answer there. Bruno's risky for that reason, but also, like, let's not forget that even if that doesn't happen, because that's like the answer that anybody would give right now. Oh, he's on 4 yellows, like, don't captain him. Which in reality, the likelihood of him getting a yellow is probably pretty low. But it is a tough matchup. He may have some more defensive duties, so perhaps that invokes a yellow card. But also, he still has one tough matchup and one pretty tough matchup as well. I mean, we could always get a bad Fulham on any day. Tottenham just got a lot of chances against them, but they still defended reasonably well over the past month or so. So these matchups aren't amazing. Obviously, he's still somebody you want to have in your team, but I think Salah and De Bruyne are better captaincy options. Martial to Vardy and Son to Mane for a hit. Wow, that's a lot of money in the bank there. If you're upgrading 2 players, I think that sounds good. Besides the fact that I would go Salah over Mane if you don't have him. I would try to avoid Mane, but he's never a terrible option. I think I think Salah and KDB are better. Maybe even Bruno for this week, but I don't know who all you have. So I think that sounds great. Martial to Vardy is something I would be interested in myself if I had a great way to get the money. The only way I could do so is if I got rid of Tierney and I went down to a 4.3, I believe. And 4.3 is at a price where the options kind of dry up a little bit defensively. I mean, I would be trusting my Newcastle guys. I would be trusting the American DeAndre Yedlin, and I'm not so sure I want to do that. Like, is he going to be rotated? We don't really know. He's only started 5 games in a row, and they have other people they could play there, in my opinion. I think he's played well a lot of games. Don't get me wrong, and he's came into the side, and they've recently lost to Sheffield United, so maybe they changed some things up. But they've also drawn 0-0 with Liverpool, so I don't know how to feel about that. But, I mean, that could be a move. Again, I'd still be getting rid of somebody with good fixtures in the future with Martial. It doesn't feel like the best transfer to make. Tierney to James. I mean, I could still do another transfer after that, right? I mean, a -4 to get rid of Saka Holding, maybe. Again, not many great options there. So I'm not really sure what I would do with that. Antonio or Watkins. So for me, there's both some uncertainty here because Antonio obviously hasn't played that much. At least with Watkins, you know you're going to get 90 minutes. I think if they get 90 minutes both games, first of all, I see Antonio getting maybe, 150 minutes between the two games. Some people may say that he's going to get benched one of them, and that's possible as well. But that could still happen, and he could still get, 120 minutes if he gets 90 and 30. So theoretically, that's the same as 260. So anyway, I like Antonio if he starts. He's got really good matchups. Burnley and West Brom, having 2 really good matchups is much different than simply having one, and that's what Watkins has. Playing Man City, I mean, I've just highlighted how good they've been defensively. I think the main issue that keeps me from really having a strong opinion on this is the fact that Watkins has been very inconsistent so far. He's only had 1 week where he returned, but didn't get double digits. He's got a 19-point week, a 13-point week, and an 11-point week. And 2 of those were against Liverpool and Arsenal. Now, I know at the time, Arsenal was struggling, so keep that in mind. But he still had a great game against Liverpool, and Arsenal still aren't, the bottom of the barrel kind of team. And the other one was against Crystal Palace. I don't think Watkins has really shown his clinical finishing abilities yet, other than in the Liverpool game. He got 3 assists last game. He hasn't scored since game week 8. For me, I would probably lean towards Antonio here. The only good thing about Watkins is you have 2 games in hand and the further down the line. But I mean, I owned Watkins for a long time. And I watched him play a lot, and he doesn't necessarily always occupy the central position. He struggles to get a shot off a lot of times. I mean, I have a lot of criticisms from an FPL perspective of Watkins. But I think he's a good player, and I honestly think that he will improve at some point this season, and maybe these next couple of fixtures are the way to go. With Watkins, we just don't know. With Antonio, we don't know about playing time, though. So choose the question that you want. I trust Antonio's quality more, but I trust Watkins' playtime much more. There's also a possibility. Wait, let me think about this. Who's on penalties for West Ham? Because I know Noble, classically takes them. But I can't remember who's been taking penalties for West Ham. I'm sure I will figure it out. Have they even got a penalty recently? Because I really don't remember, but maybe that's just me. I know if Lanzini's on the field, he'll take them a lot of times, but he hasn't been on the field a lot. I think there's a good chance with Antonio on the field, he may just take the penalty. We saw him take a couple in the past, at least one at the end of the season. I don't know if Mark Noble was just trying to give him a goal for contract bonuses or whatever the case may be, but there's a chance he's on penalties, just at least a chance. So Adam asks, Dallas to Stones -4 at the expense of benching Bamford. Wow. That's so tough. I'm glad I'm bench boosting this week, and that's the thing. Like, so many highly owned players, even with just a single game week, they have a great matchup. I still think I would do it. I mean, I just love the Stones and Cancelo too much. I think it's a good time to get him in, and I think I would do it. It's a -4, though. I think either way it makes sense, and I hate to say that because it's not a real take on this, but I think that's just the way it goes. Stones does lack some goal threat. He did score recently in the Cup, though. It's a little bit low upside. I don't know. I really don't know what I would do. Because this is a case where, like, at that defender price, there's great alternatives. Stones are just so good. I really don't know. Seiss or Dyer, who to bench? So Seiss has a pretty good matchup, doesn't he? And Dyer, well, he does too. So we're looking at two great matchups right away. I would say Seiss has a little more goal threat. West Brom. How have West Brom done recently? What was their last game? West Brom, wow. Yeah. So over the past month or so, West Brom's expected goals is absolutely in the dirt. They're basically twice as bad as Everton have been recently. And they can't finish their chances either. But then we're also looking at, who is it? Sheffield United. And they're actually not that bad in terms of expected goals. They just can't really finish. As shown here, they've underperformed it a decent amount. So West Brom have created very few chances recently. That leans towards them. If we're looking at expected goals, I think I would Dyer or Seiss. I think you have a great chance of a clean sheet either way, to be honest. I would just roll with Seiss, and that's only because he's more of a clinical finisher. That's the only thing I can really separate the two with. Like, Seiss has showed on multiple occasions the ability to get forward and get a goal. Dyer's on free kicks, but is he really going to score one? Maybe. Chilwell to Cancelo, no hits. I mean, Chilwell's good, but Cancelo's just so much better. I think I would do that. I think I would make that transfer. You also get a little bit of money in the bank. It's sort of a luxury transfer because Chilwell's not a bad option, but Cancelo is a great option. I think I would do it. Yeah, if you don't have anything else to do, I think I would do it. Martial to Vardy and Son to Mane, or just Son to Salah. Ooh. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Salah's a little bit more than Mane. I keep forgetting that now. Oh, so that little bit is pricing you out of that. I think I would do Son to Salah, and that's just because of the amount of FPL respect I have for Salah. I'm like, you don't really want to miss out on him, so I think I would do that. Vardy or Bruno captain? I would go Vardy. Two matchups where I see him scoring, whereas Bruno, Liverpool first game isn't great, and then the whole 4 yellow card situation isn't great for Bruno either because he could be suspended for the second game. Vardy, potential injury issues, but I think you go Vardy there. I think he's going to play both. He had a lot of rest recently. Should I bench boost with Bamford, Smith Rowe, Areola, and Deca over Reed? I think you should. I think that's a good enough bench boost, right? So you get the double game week. Smith Rowe and Bamford look good. And Deca over Reed is the weak link here. Maybe transfer him to somebody better with a double game week, like a Souček or something. I don't know exactly who you have. But if that's not in the cards, I see what you're saying about next week, but you have the double game week with Areola this week. I'm not sure. But considering the fact that you appear to have a decent bench now, the only thing I will say is I would look to use it pretty soon. If the chance arises, I would take it with the bench boost. That's generally how I would play it. Do you think Reece James plays both games or just one? That's what I'm trying to decide now, honestly. We just really don't know. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. All we know is Lampard said all of his players are fit, and he didn't mention anything specially. So if we take that at face value, that means Reece James is likely to start both games. Reece James is not necessarily nailed on, but And if he does play, do I really love his attacking threat? Not really. Recently, he doesn't really overlap enough and play that much. So this was January 13th. According to Simon Phillips, Reece James is in full training. Let's see. What kind of injury did Reece James have? January 8th, Reece James was supposed to train in the squad in the next couple of days, and that happened about 5 days later. I'm just trying to figure out what was it I think it was an ankle or knee. I don't exactly remember because I just want to know the nature of the injury, like, lingering hamstring injury or whatever the case may be. Some things are a little more critical than others. But, I think I'm going to take the chance on him. It's sort of a chance either way with James or Tierney. The thing about James is he has a double game week. So, Bamford or Antonio? Oh, come on. I would play Antonio. Double game week. Don't disrespect Michael Antonio. I mean, it's a bit of uncertainty there. Obviously, Bamford's more of a sure thing. But I think you still go with Mr. Michael Antonio. Adam says, if not Bamford, I would be benching Son, Grealish, or Justin, who I think are all stars. I think, in this case, I think you'd simply bench Bamford and hope he doesn't punish you. I think that makes the most sense. Should I go Diaz or Cancelo? I think you go Cancelo, to be honest. Now, I know, a while back, I had rotation worries about him as well. He's only been benched ever since he got his place in the starting lineup. He's only been benched once. But there's a bunch of small things that could be adding up to Cancelo playing. So Kyle Walker's got the whole COVID situation. I mean, in a way, I hope Kyle Walker gets banned if he actually did have that party that spread COVID and led to multiple games in the EPL being suspended. This is almost a side note because these kind of things take so long to happen, but I would like to see Walker suspended if that actually is the case, because that's just ridiculous, and that would nail on Cancelo's spot. But also we have some injuries at defense in general. It doesn't really affect Cancelo. I think the main thing that convinces me that Cancelo will start regularly is simply the fact that he's been so good. He's also got great attacking threat, and I really think at some point he's got to get a double-digit haul. I think Cancelo would be the way to go, but Diaz is more nailed on with the center back injuries that Man City have, and the fact that he's sort of established a leadership role. I think Diaz is as nailed on as I can get. I think Stones is also nailed on now, though, because of the injuries and how well he's been playing, and just how well the defense is playing in general. I don't think they should change anything. But I think they will all play very, very regularly. I don't think Cancelo is going to get rested every other game or anything like that. I think he's fine. Jake, should I go Diaz or Cancelo? Oh, I already read that question. Do you think Fabianski will start both games or just one? So I still know nothing about Fabianski. What does the FPL site say about Fabianski? We still haven't seen him play yet. I think it's if I had to just gamble on it, I would say just one, but I don't know anything about the situation really. I'm bench boosting. Who are you going to captain personally? So I'm going with KDB. Just because KDB, great matchups. And I don't know, man. KDB has been unlucky to not get more points recently. He's played really well. He's had some chances that I felt like he should score. And he hasn't scored that many goals recently. I think he'll get some more soon based on how he's played. Early on in the season, a lot of people simply miss his chances and stuff like that. I think Man City are a more confident side now. We'll see what happens. There's also the possibility that he gets played as a false nine, and then he gets even more opportunities on goal. I think it's just the simple way to go. You see De Bruyne, 2 great matchups, and you captain him. I don't really like any of the differentials. There's always something that I wouldn't trust about them. One guy, who would actually be my vice captain if it wasn't for the fact that they play on the same team, and given the whole COVID situation, I don't vice captain players from the same team. That player would be João Cancelo. As I mentioned earlier, I think he's got a good possibility of a double-digit haul in just one of the games. I actually think he's a captaincy option. So if for whatever reason you're looking to just be different, I think Cancelo could be the way to go. His goal and assist threat has been obviously there the last couple of games. He had a nice shot on target last game. He cut inside past 1 or 2 defenders, shot it right at the keeper, but still looks good. I would, and that goes for you too, Ryan. I would, if I had to triple captain somebody this week, or if I was looking to, De Bruyne would probably be the guy. Salah would be the other one, but you don't have him. Would you play second lead attacker or Souček in midfield with a double game week? I would go Souček. The matchups are simply too good. All the best, Rajat. Are you stupid for triple captaining Cresswell? Well, you know what? Let's look at this. Since you're concerned about your own level of intelligence, let's check out Mr. Cresswell. Well, first of all, let's look at West Ham defensively over the past month. As I always do, West Ham mid-table. With the good fixtures, fair enough, but I would say we need something from the attacking side to really justify it. How old is Cresswell? Isn't he pretty old? I would just say that just because of potential rotation, but he's as nailed on as it gets, really. Expected assists per 90 minutes. Let's see how much scrolling we have to do. I assume he's not on the first page. So here he is. So, his attacking numbers are a little bit behind, like Cancelo and Reece James, but it's still not terrible. I can't say I would do it personally. There will probably be a better time to triple captain, especially if you've already used other chips. Just simply because, if you're free hitting in the future double game week or whatever, then you couldn't use your triple captain. That's the only reason I say that. But I can't say I would do it. I think De Bruyne would make more sense. I don't know. It's just higher upside. De Bruyne, there's a chance he gets 15 points in each game, and I can't say the same for Cresswell. De Bruyne's got a higher ceiling, I think, and he should be on penalties, right? He's got to be after that Sterling miss, especially. Apparently, he was tired at the end of last game, so who knows? Who knows why he didn't take the penalty? If his attacking threat was a little bit higher, Cresswell also really only has attacking threat from a certain couple of scenarios. And it's like his crossing, or if the ball comes out to him and he's able to, half volley long shot or just some random long shot. But he's never going to, beat a player and then, he lacks the speed to really overlap and get an assist like Robertson would or something like that, So he's sort of just you're going to get assists from him crossing the ball into Antonio or Souček. And he's got the corners and free kick potentially. Should I play Martinez or Fabianski? So that's why you're asking about. I think, given the fact that it's a goalkeeper and one of them is rotation risk, I think I would simply go with the other one. I would go with Martinez. I know it's a tougher matchup. And there may be some uncertainty there about COVID, but I think you go there. He probably just won't play at all, or not. And if he does miss just one game, it'll be the Man City one. It sucks, but I think you just simply play it simple there. A minus 12 for the bench boost. I don't necessarily like Vardy and Son out, but the other two perfectly fine. We'll see how the players you do. It's a little bit too risky for what I would do, but I like Cancelo and KDB for sure this week. So, who to start, Fabianski or Johnston? Again, I think you play it safe with Johnston. I don't know anything about Fabianski, so I can't really help you. But you could. I was gonna say you could make the argument that Johnston's better anyway, but I don't think so. Fabianski's fixtures are too good, but I would go Johnston. Yeah, I just couldn't look at Cresswell and make myself captain him. Not high enough upside, I suppose, but also like no goal threat. Only a couple ways he really gets points. Mahrez captain? No. I don't think I could. You never know when he's going to get benched, and Mahrez is a huge risk for this. He could be benched both games, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know they have some fitness issues, but I think Sterling starts, and that could easily push Mahrez out of the side. I would not go close to Mahrez captaincy. If I had him, I wouldn't sell him, but I can't say I would captain him. So Danny Welbeck plus 3.6. Antonio, there's not many options here. There really aren't. I think Antonio would be the way to go. Bamford, if he had a double game week. You brought back in Antonio Nuclear Adams. Well, I'm glad you joined the party of Antonio double game week. But yeah, that's funny that you had Antonio all that time, and now you have him back. But yeah, I think, John, as far as it goes for you, there's really nothing I can say besides Antonio. Watkins would be the other guy, but for me, Antonio wins that. So let's look at Antonio's stats this week, since I've talked about him a lot, or over this season, because he hasn't really produced many statistics, has he? Where would he even? Let's just see where he comes up. So he's not. Oh, he's on the first page. So in the few amount of minutes that Antonio's played, 578, which that's 9 appearances. That's like half the season. 0.47 expected goals per 90 minutes. So, and throw in his little assist potential there as well. Expected goal involvement of 1 every 2 games. That's not bad. That's not good. But that's not terrible. That's reasonably close to some other decent players, such as Pulisic. I don't know. It's really not bad though. For his price especially. It's better than Souček and Harvey Barnes, for example. Not that that's saying much. But he's pretty cheap with amazing matchups, so I think you go with him. Play Grealish over Bamford considering the COVID situation. I think I would. Grealish, we know, or we assume, didn't have COVID at any point because of what he's been posting on social media, which either indicated or proved that he was training. I haven't seen them myself, but I've heard Annie on Let's Talk FPL mentioned it, that we know that Grealish is fine to play based on how he's been posting on social media. So yeah, I think Grealish is reasonably safe, but we also just don't know. But I would go Grealish. Was Fabianski back in training? That I don't know. If he is, then that makes a big difference, I suppose, but we still don't know. What's my overall rank? My overall rank is 68,593rd. So 68K with 1,104 overall points so far this season. Before I forget, let me go. I don't even know how to get there. Oh, here I go. Let me check out this draft team that I had with this group of people. I haven't even looked at it in a while. It's like an American Football League, how they do the draft. In case you don't know what this is, it's like a completely different game mode in Fantasy Premier League, where at the beginning of the season there's like a ordered draft, and you pick players and all that good stuff, and then you basically have them for the season unless you get rid of them. So yeah, I'm struggling here for double game week players. I haven't made changes to my team in a while, but that would change right now. Let me just throw some double game week players in here, and then I'll get back to my team, and I will just bring in Reece James, I suppose. So let me see. Who should I bring in? Double game week players. Mings, maybe I throw him in. Johnston, you have a double game week, you're in. That's my full analysis. You're in the team. Confirm. I'm just picking up people that nobody else has. Who else shall I get that's available? These people aren't available. Show available. I may have to go with the Aston Villa guy. People are avoiding them. They're scared of him. Lowton. Ugh. These are terrible options. I'm going to have to go for some defenders, I think. No. This is absolute garbage. Maitland-Niles. Let's go ahead and bring in where was he? Lowton, you're coming into the team, buddy. Am I excited? No. Is it necessary? Maybe. So who else? I need to get rid of Welbeck and Podence. So I need a forward. A forward's going to be impossible to find. In draft mode, the forwards, like if you have a lot of teams, the forwards just simply run out. So I'm going to get in, Fabio Silva maybe. Fuck it. I'm going to take a chance with Abraham. Not many great options anyway. Replace, confirm signings, and then who else we got? Yeah, I need to make one more. Get rid of Podence, bring somebody in. Podence, that'd be funny if somehow I accidentally made these moves on my actual team. But that's impossible. I'll go. Ooh, I could go Lookman. That's not bad actually. Double game week, terrible matchups here, but pretty quality player. I like Lookman, and I like the fact that he was able to bounce back from that terrible penalty miss. Oh yeah, I need a midfielder, don't I? Wow, this is terrible. Midfielder. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to go with Mr. Fulham here, I think. Lookman, sign, and Podence out. And boom, there's my team. This team is absolute garbage. I'll leave him on the bench, actually. Alright, cool. Well, that's a team. Maybe not a great team, but it's a team. And now I have 12 minutes left on the actual team. Let's see. So you have Martinez and El Ghazi. Should I play bench boost? If you have two other good starters as well, I think that makes sense. Asher, Martinez, El Ghazi. Yeah, I think if you have I think you take the chance. I don't know, man. If you have Bamford and somebody else alongside that, but if you just have Brewster and somebody else that may or may not play, then I would say no. It depends on the other two guys you have as well. Yeah, I have the link for the mini league is in the description, John. Triple captain, ooh, KDB or Salah. Pick Burke up off the waivers. Oh yeah, I forgot. What a shame. I have Martinez and El Ghazi. Should I play bench boost? It's almost like I've seen that message before. Don't quite remember it. But who's the rest of your bench, sir? I would like to know. Give me your entire bench. So, oh yeah, to the transfer page. I assume we're not really going to get anything huge here. Let me take a good old scroll through Twitter and probably play some media that will get my YouTube a strike. Let's see. Any big news? Let's see here. I'm seeing posts of teams and no big news. And I haven't seen like. Oh, let's check out my notifications. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. I don't think we're going to get anything at this point in time. Not the most exciting transfer. Let me see how well Chelsea have defended recently. Make sure I want to do this. Chelsea haven't defended that well, actually. It's not great at all. Who have Chelsea played, though? Maybe this will change my mind. And the fact that there's not many better options doesn't really help me at all. Reece James, Fulham, and Leicester. I mean, that's not great. Over the past month or so, they have had some kind of tough matchups, including Man City. That's probably the biggest one. Arsenal played pretty well against them. Wolves, Aston Villa. These aren't bad teams. Reece James, man, you're in the team by default. How does it feel? Like, literally, I don't want anybody else. They either don't have a double game week or they're just not good enough. Thiago Silva would be safer, but I need the money for Salah in the future. Dire single game week. I mean, I've looked at all this. There's just no, I mean, unless I go down to a cheap guy. Lowton. West Ham and Liverpool. That's not good at all, is it? I mean, I could just take a chance with him. He's just not the same as Reece James. I would hate to just have to bring in Reece James and then have to get rid of him soon. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. It's just block FPL, as it's spelled here, but no spaces, no. You could probably just search for it to find it. Can you decide faster? Hey, man, I know how much time I have. I'm going to use the full amount of time. All right? That's what I do. Start Tarkowski or Matip. I'm going to have to say, oh, wow. That's a tough one. Matip, we have issues with, right? Like starting potentially. Matip. Yeah. I think I would go Tarkowski, to be honest. But, wow. Yeah, I don't know the whole deal with Matip. So I think I would go for the more certain option. Tarkowski should start both, right? Reece James is not amazing. And I'm not super excited by this. But it gives me a double game week, and it gives me a defender. There's always James Justin. Southampton, Chelsea. We get a good matchup in 21, which I would like. Let's take a look at James Justin. Wait, what's James's matchup in 21? Okay, it doesn't make a difference. Let's look at Mr. James Justin. So recently, Leicester have defended, well, much better than Chelsea. Their matchups are arguably worse, though, for this two double game weeks. Let's take a look at Mr. Justin. He's a little cheaper, too, by a 0.1, but it makes a difference. Yeah, I mean, much worse attacking threat recently, and I would expect that to go down some more, to be honest. Reece James, potential free kick taker, takes some corners as well. Fulham, let's see, how do I expect this game to go? I would expect Fulham to generally drop deep. Sometimes they almost end up defending in a weird way where they sort of press the back line, but their defense stays back a little bit, and there's a lot of space in the midfield. That doesn't necessarily lend itself towards a fullback getting points. Same thing with Leicester. I don't really see it. But Lampard said everyone's fit. This is the least enthusiastic I've ever been on making a transfer. Again, let me just search Reece James one more time. Just make sure we're not missing out on any news. Reece James. And this is the modern day research that is so important. Bench boost with Bamford, Saka, and Mitchell. How about an Aston Villa defender? Bamford, Saka, and Mitchell, yes. So Saka is kind of an issue. I mean, not Saka, Mitchell. But if you have a playing goalkeeper as well, I think that's good enough to bench boost with. I think you just get the bench boost chip out of the way personally. Aston Villa defender could be good. The one I would be interested in the most is Target, and he's on 4 yellow cards, so that rules him out. I just don't know who has COVID for Villa, and they also play Man City one game. So it sort of puts me off. I know that Reece James plays Leicester one game, but besides Target, the other Villa guys don't necessarily have the goal threat that James has. So I think I may just take the risk here. I do like the Villa guys, though. They also have games in hand for the future. I think that could be a way to go, but I think I'm just going to wait and get them in the future. I do want them at some point. Let's see the latest on Mr. Reece James. We got 5 minutes. Just random people posting lineups that I don't trust at all, so I'm just skipping over them. Whatever. I'll simply do Reece James in. So Tierney out, Reece James in. Confirm the transfer very unenthusiastically, no hope. And Reece James just to make it the most realistic. Would I play him over Kane? I'm going to say no. I trust Kane too much. That's how I would probably order the bench, I think. Maybe I bench Martial. I'm just thinking of pointless things now. Start Tarkowski. Oh, I already read that. So is it worth it to upgrade Ampadu to Cresswell for a hit? Okay, so Cresswell basically instead of Rafinha for a hit for this week, but you also get the advantage of getting rid of Ampadu long term, which could be nice. I think you probably do it. I don't necessarily love Rafinha. I think some of this is going to come down to whether you want Cresswell longer term. So game week 20 and then after 21, there's some good fixtures as well. I think it makes sense, but I'm somebody that doesn't necessarily like Rafinha as an FPL option. So keep that in mind. Maybe I'm a little biased against him. Okay, it's game week 20. Okay, that makes sense. Thanks. I was wondering about that. But it would still be a risk for the double game week. Target would be like if he gets one in the Man City game, then he misses the game that I would really want him for. Yeah, that's fair enough, Kobe. I think that makes sense. And, it's higher upside to go with Fabianski. We just don't know. The fixtures are too good. I guess you could look at it either way. Like, since it's just a goalkeeper either way, it's a double game week with a goalkeeper and there's some risk involved, just play the one that has the higher upside, I suppose, if they are fit. So you could look at it that way. I think that makes sense. Bring in Foden. It sounds good. I personally like the this Man City triple up that I have, but, Foden's a great option. That doesn't mean that he isn't. So, yeah. I'm going to leave Reece James on the bench simply because I'm not excited about him. And I think that's what I would do. So there's the team. I don't think I'll be making any last-second transfers here. I could make a -4 to get rid of these guys, but I'm not really sure who I would want to bring in. Not many great options here. It's just not the time. So bench boosting with, assuming Kane was on the bench. Anyway, I have 3 single game week players that all have good matchups, and then I also have the rest double game weeks. A lot of doubts around the team in different areas, I would say. I was waiting for whoever it was to send me something on Twitter, but a little bit too late now. We have 1 minute until the deadline. Maybe you could sneak out some extra seconds where they don't update it in time, but final couple seconds here to make your moves. Yeah, good luck, everybody. Have a good game week, as Harveen says. What's the first game? The first game is another one I don't care about, so I don't have a reason to stay for the lineups. That sucks. Wolves versus West Brom. Nobody's interested. Well, people are, but who knows? Maybe I stay. Probably will not. Good luck, Kobe. Man, no Salah this week. What a shame. And the deadline is passed. Let's see if I can refresh and get anything. Probably not. Yep, they're doing it right on the deadline nowadays. So that is that. Reece James into the team for Tierney. It's really going to tear me apart. I made the joke twice now. I'm sure you laughed harder the second time. So yeah, my issue with Chelsea is they haven't defended well. They defended worse than West Ham, Fulham, Everton, Villa, Leicester, Liverpool, Southampton, Man City. A lot of teams here, including Manchester United. But a lot of these players, or a lot of these teams, I already have 3 of. I already have 3 West Ham. I already have 3 Man City. I already have 3 Manchester United. Otherwise, I would have 4 of them right now, and that's for sure. Maybe I should have just went with Justin because he's more likely to start, but man, James just has that little more attacking threat that I would prefer. So that is that. Yes, hello Nasty Balls. How's it going? I should say Mr. Balls. It's more proper. And how often do you get to correctly say that someone's name is Mr. Balls? So before we go, let's have a let's go through every game, and we'll make a prediction about how the game will go. So Wolves versus West Brom. Well, I don't have any players in this game, so I probably don't know the most about it. But with Podence out and Neto starts, I think it's a pretty good game for Neto. I think Wolves have a decent chance of a clean sheet. Seiss could be a good option for this. I think it's tough to say whether West Brom will score or not. I think Wolves win. It'll probably be reasonably low scoring, but it depends on how Wolves want to play it. I would probably say 1 or 2-0 to Wolves. Leeds Brighton. I would say I'm going to say 3-1 Leeds. I think both teams score. It could be 2-2 as well. I think both teams score, but I think Leeds will probably win. West Ham Burnley. So if Antonio does well, I think he could score. Burnley have some physicality, but Antonio can also beat them with pace. The thing I love about Antonio is he's a hard worker. Like, he's the opposite of Haller, who just doesn't make runs, stands there. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Haller in terms of his movement. I feel like he just doesn't even try. He's just like, I'll get the ball at some point, I'm sure. I think it'll probably be low scoring. I'm going to have to say I'm going to say 1-0 West Ham. I think they get a goal in, and I think Burnley missed their chances. Aston Villa Everton, I'm going to have to say that, well, we don't know, because Aston Villa, who knows what team they show up with. But I think Aston Villa are able to sneak away with a win through camaraderie of having endured a similar experience with their whole postponement of games and everything that's happened. I think they come back pretty strong given the fact that Everton haven't been playing well, and I think they win 2-1. Fulham versus Chelsea. I think that Chelsea obviously should win. Fulham will probably put up a tough fight. If Chelsea score early, it could get bad for Fulham. But, I'm not going to go too crazy here. I think 2-1 Chelsea. I think Fulham will nick a goal with players like Lookman, who didn't start last game. Hurt their attacking threat a little bit. Leicester versus Southampton. I think this one's for Leicester. Ings with COVID probably hurt Southampton a lot. I think, again, we're looking at something probably like a 1-goal win. I'm not necessarily huge on Leicester killing them, but I think it could be 2-0, maybe 3-0. I'll just change up the picks a little bit to not pick 2-1 every time. And then Sheffield United versus Tottenham. I'm going to say 1-0 Tottenham simply because Tottenham, they seem to always just get the low-scoring wins. I know they created a lot of chances last game where they could have scored much more, and Sheffield United, predicting them not to score isn't exactly a hot take. Liverpool versus Manchester United, obviously this is the huge game that nobody really knows what's going to happen. I think it's a pretty good game for Liverpool attackers. Manchester United have defended well. Depends on how they line up, though. I don't think they'll Mourinho it. I think this game will be. I'm gonna actually say. Oh, I don't even know who's gonna win. I'm thinking a decent amount of goals, so it's gonna be at least 2-1 one way. I'm gonna say 2-2. That's kind of a safe pick. It's kind of boring. Man City Crystal Palace. This is one of those that could get ugly potentially if Man City gets some early goals or an early goal at least. But I'm still only going to go with the 2-0, maybe 3-0. Man City have just failed against a lot of the smaller teams, and that's really all there is to it. Their defense is played so well that I'm going to just keep predicting clean sheets for them until it doesn't happen, and then I'll reconsider. But yeah, that is that. Oh my gosh, did I really just predict Villa Everton? Good point, Davey. So Villa, yeah, wow. Villa played Man City and plenty of other games. That's funny. I was confused by that one. Yeah, that one took me a while. I was confused. Good point. Yeah, I think Burke triple captain is a good option. The thing about Burke is like he just creates chances and he has a lot of goal threat as well. He just does it all. He's also out of position. He's listed as a midfielder. He plays forward, which gives you some more points. And I think they just give him like 1 point every game because he's Oliver Burke, so it's good. The thing about him also is that he plays for a good team. Talisman. So, yes, that I will conclude the stream there. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a good game week, just not as good as mine, of course. That would be terrible. And, yeah, I will see you next time.